Hi, I'm Paul Lunny from the Lunny Group, and today we're going to be focusing on a modern classic of I need to think about it. If you're hearing this a lot in your pitches and your presentations, don't get frustrated. There is a way to handle it, but you need to take responsibility because it's not your client's fault, it's yours. Once the customer leaves that meeting and walks out the door, the chance of them buying from you have gone down dramatically, and I'm emphasising dramatically. Once they leave, you've lost the opportunity to have a dialogue with them. And because of today's busy schedules and families and businesses to run, how many of those people who we think have said they need to think about it are actually going away and thinking about it? Probably a very, very small percentage. So it's something that happens to a lot of us, and today we're going to focus on how to handle that objection and how we move forward. Now, how do we know people are not thinking about it? There has been some serious studies on how people retain information, and there's something called a memory curve. Studies show, and I want you to listen carefully to this, that within 24 hours of making your presentation, people are going to forget 75% of what you've told them. Let me just repeat that. Within 24 hours, people will forget 75% of what you showed them. So if you're pitching a client, you're having a chat with them and they say, call me back tomorrow, well, 75% of the content you've delivered to them, either in person or over the phone, is going to be gone. So once that client walks out that door, you have lost the opportunity, you've lost the initiative, because they're not going to think about it. I hear some salespeople trying to get leads to commit to a time where they can have a callback or a follow-up. But what are you going to say when you call them back a week later or 2 weeks later and they tell you they still need to think about it because they've not been thinking about it? What are you going to do? Simply asking for a follow-up time doesn't actually get to the root of the problem. If someone's telling you they need to think about it, what they're telling you is there's either something they need to think about or they've got a concern that's not been handled. Whether it's not going to work for them, they don't understand the value, they don't get the urgency, or they just want to tell you no, but they don't feel like they can. So the first step in correctly handling the I need to think about it stall, because it's not really an objection, it is a stall more than anything else, is to set up the sales meeting in a way that prevents your leads from coming to an I need to think about it mindset. So when you have your sales meetings, or your calls or your presentations, you can quite easily frame the meeting in a way that explains to the prospect what we're here to do today. Okay, we're here to discuss how we can help your business, and depending on how this presentation goes, there are a couple of potential outcomes. So firstly, if we're a match, then we can move forward with a yes, and I hope that's the kind of conclusion that we come to. But if we're not a match, and that can happen, okay, it does happen from time to time, and you don't think we're right for you, then I want you to say no, and I want you to feel like you can say no, knowing that I won't be offended. I really value your honesty, so I'd appreciate that. And we can discuss it, and we can discuss why it's a no, and that's okay. And it's the one we both want to avoid, is we end this meeting with you saying, I need to think about it. Because what that really means is if you want to say yes, and you've got a few concerns, you've not been able to tell me, or not been able to feel like you can tell me, and therefore I can't answer those concerns and I can't help you. If it is a no, and you don't want to hurt my feelings, which I do appreciate, I'm going to end up following this up thinking it's a yes, and you just want more time to think about it, and you're going to get sick of hearing my voice on my voice messages, text messages and emails, and I don't want to upset you or waste your time. So how do you feel about moving forward, and how does that sound? If despite framing the conversation in a way that should prevent your prospects coming to the need to think about it, stall, you're in the situation where you need to kind of deal with that, you need to have a script sorted and a strategy on how to tackle that situation. So tell the client that you understand. I get that right now you feel like you need to think about it. I've been doing this for a very long time now, and if somebody's saying to me they need to think about it, what it means is one of two things. And that's okay. You know, I get that you feel like you need to think about it, but I'd hate for you to miss out on an opportunity because I've not done my job properly. When a prospect tells you, let me think about it, I want you to say in the nicest possible way, in a very firm way though, when someone tells me they need to think about it, it means one of two things. It either means that they're not interested, and that's okay, or they're interested, but they're not sure. Which one is it? Now we've put the customer on the spot here, and we've asked them in a very clear and a precise way, a very clear question. We're getting them to think and be honest. Now this is going to save us all the time and energy, because if they're not interested, we're happy to be moving on and potentially come back to that situation, that prospect, that client at a later date when their situation's changed. If it's the second though, I would recommend going through all three pillars of the sale: situation, product and provider. Now we teach these three pillars at all our sales training events across the country, as it really does provide the foundation for closing any sale. And if you get the right answer to those questions, then I would attempt to close that prospect again. If you get the wrong answers, you can handle each one of those pillars, so you can build the foundations for closing that sale. But going through that process, you get your client to realize that potentially they have no objections or concerns, they just feel like they have them, which is okay because we all hate being sold to. If you're still being told they need to think about it and you've explained everything you've said, they're saying that they have no concerns, and despite your best attempts to get to the root of the problem, and you don't seem to be getting anywhere, whether you realize it or not, or like it or not, it's a no. You will find though that by going through the 3 pillars, going through this process, you're going to save yourself a lot of time dealing with people who are never going to buy from you, but also get to the root of the problem with people who do want to buy from you. They just don't feel like they can communicate with you in a way that allows you to understand their problems so that you can answer their concerns and close the deal. If you're still getting, I need to think about it, even at this stage, after going through the 3 pillars and asking those kind of questions, they either don't have the money or they don't see the value or appreciate the urgency of purchasing at the moment. You're in the realms of having to ask some really direct questions and asking, is it the money? Is it the finances? You can be honest with me, and then working on options for your prospects at this stage. At all times, you've got to gauge their interest, listen to the tone, listen to what they've got to say, so that you can move the sale forward. I would recommend though, despite the outcome, regardless of what happens, remain calm, be professional, don't lose your temper, okay? You can't win every sale, despite your best efforts, okay? So that's how I handle the I need to think about objection, or stall, as we like to say. I would say, and I do like to stress, you can't close every prospect, okay? Sales is about increasing the third of the people, the margin on the third of the people that you can do business with. The people who aren't sure, you're always going to get the third of people who want to buy from you, the third of people who need convincing. That's what our job as salespeople is to do, is to get those third of people who need convincing. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to share on Facebook and LinkedIn, comment below. Yeah, I'm all about spreading the love and sharing ideas with people. So yeah, I'd really appreciate your support by sharing this information, and I hope to see you on the next video. Take care.